Rise nice and high onto your knees, ripple, roll forward, pull your heels to your butt. Lowering hips, let your chest lift. Release the feet down onto the ground. Roll over onto your right side. Draw your left knee to your left armpit and really squeeze your left heel to your bum, like you would flex your bicep, doing the same with your hamstrings. So flex your hamstrings for me. Really squeezing it in nice and tight here. You can bring that top arm into cactus arm, lifting up through your chest, trying to sit up as tall as you can and pressing into that bottom pinky toe, into that bottom knife edge of the foot, trying to lift your hips just up just a little bit higher. Opening up your chest, pulling your elbow a little bit further back behind you, lifting that knee up higher, keep squeezing that heel in towards your hamstring. Now start to rise up, lifting it up, kicking it up to the sky. So you can straighten it out or you can keep it slightly bent, just depending on how you're going and how you're doing over here. You're going to really squeeze that top thigh muscle. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Maybe spread the toes and push it up to the sky. And really compress and squeeze, 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 lengthening the back of your hamstring, lowering the leg back down, rolling down forward and around over the hips, coming over towards your left hand side. Lifting your left knee up, so your right knee, draw your right knee into your armpit, squeezing the heel into your bum as much as you can, cactusing your top arm, opening up through your chest. You might even start to feel sensation around the hip as the space shortens between your hip bone and your thigh, your upper thigh. Squeeze it in. Should start to feel a little bit warmer. And then start to kick the top leg up to the sky and try to not lean too much back, but keep sitting upright, pressing into that bottom pinky toe. Lifting your leg up, feeling that this top knee pulls back and the thigh muscle is really starting to activate. Lifting it up just a little bit higher. Place your right hand down. Roll yourself back, forward onto your hips. Pull your shoulders back. Chin to chest, ripple back, sit back into your child's pose. Breathe in, roll forward. Pull your heels to your bum, lower your hips. Start to flow a bit more, lower your legs back down. Roll onto your right hip. Draw your left knee to your left armpit, squeeze the heel into the bum. Straightening the leg up as much as you can. Bending it back in. See if you can get this left heel as high up as into the right groin as you can. So first, push the ball of the foot down and then push down through the heel. So basically you're stepping with your right foot onto the inside of your bottom leg. And if you need to, you can just use your hand to bring that foot up a little bit higher. If you want to go for a different option, you can just drop the foot down in front of you or behind you. Wherever you are, you're going to straighten that top arm. Bring your index finger and your thumb together, pressing down as if you're stepping with the top foot into the bottom leg. Sitting up nice and tall. You're going to really squeeze your right bicep so this right arm is working. And maybe there's even a little baby bend in that bottom elbow. Push your bum back, lift up through your chest. Bring your left hand back down to the ground. Keep your foot up if it's in front, that's perfectly fine. Lower your hips to the floor. So basically tree position on the hips, chest up. Roll yourselves down to the mat. Reaching your arms back behind you. Interlace your hands behind your back. Really pressing with your fist into your lower back, more into maybe a little bit lower than your lower back. So sliding your hand just a little bit to that bony area. On your next breath in, you're going to straighten your arms, lift your chest, and lift both knees off the ground. Keep pushing with the top foot into the inside of that leg. Lower yourself back down to the floor. Slide your hands in underneath. Press yourself back up onto your knees. So one knee is your left knee is going to be pointing out to the side. Right knee is down onto the ground. You're going to take your right hand down to the floor, lifting up your left arm. Drawing in through your lower belly. Bring your left hand down to the ground. Release the foot, sit back into your child's pose. Draw the knees a little bit closer together. Roll yourself forward and through your all fours. So rolling, rolling, rolling from your all fours. Pull your heels to your bum. Lower your hips. Release the backs of your feet. Roll over towards your left hand side. Draw your right knee to your right armpit. Stretch it up to the sky. Pull it in as close as you can. Push the ball of the foot above the knee into your leg, and then push the heel down to the floor. Or actually into the leg unless you're going down for the floor. Pressing it in. Release your right arm onto the top leg, bring your index finger and your thumb to touch. Opening up through your chest, squeezing into your left bicep. Almost like you want to start to lift that bottom hip off the ground. Place your right hand down. Roll forward onto your hips. Open your chest up. Feel as if you're pulling your hands in towards one another and letting the shoulders tilt back. Roll yourself down to the floor. Reach your arms back behind you. Interlace your hands. Breathe in. Lift your chest. Lift both legs off the ground. Lifting up just a little bit higher. Lower down, slide your hands in underneath your elbows, press away from the mat, come onto your knees. This time take the right arm up to the sky, open your chest up, lean slightly back, you can even lift onto the left fingertips. Bring your right hand down to the floor, release the back leg, bring your knees a little closer together as you sit back into your child's pose. One more round, breathe in, roll forward. Pull your heels to your bum. Squeeze it in, lower the hips. Pull your hands back, try to pull your chest and your hips forward through your hands. Pull your heels in a little bit closer to your bum. Lower your feet to the floor. Roll over onto your right side. Come and step the left foot onto the inside of the right leg. You can use your hand here. Get it up nice and high. Bending a little bit more into that bottom knee. Make sure your right hand is underneath your right shoulder. You're going to push yourself up onto the right knee. If this is a bit much, of course, you can drop the top foot over. Lifting the top arm up, you're going to reach it up and overhead. And as you reach it up and overhead, push your bum back, push your chest forward. Maybe drop that top shoulder a little bit further back behind you. Squeeze your lower bum to push further backwards to shorten the space from your bottom armpit and really lengthening over the top body. Bring your left hand down to the ground, straightening out your back leg, lower your hips, roll all the way down to the floor. Reach your arms back behind you, interlace your fingers. Breathe in, lift your head, your chest, your knees off the ground. Squeeze those palms together. Really press with the foot onto the inside of the leg. Stretch your bottom toes. Feel as if your leg bones are stretching away from you. Lifting your chest up just a little bit higher. Lower down. Straightening out the bottom leg. Bring your hands back in underneath your elbows. Curl your toes in underneath. Squeeze your thigh muscles so that it feels like your thighs are starting to lift up away from the floor. Lift your belly button in and up. So if I come around and try to slide my hand in underneath your belly, I should be able to find a little gap to slide my hand in. Lift up through your chest. Push into your hands and float your hips off the floor. Keep straightening out the back legs. Pushing the heels a little bit further back behind you. Drop your knees, push your bum back. Ripple back, sitting your bum back onto your heels. Bring your forehead down to the ground. Breathe in, roll forward. Pull the heels to the bum, lower your hips to the floor. Release the backs of the feet or the legs. Roll over to your left side. Bring your right knee to your right arm, but push down through the toes, then the heel goes down, bending a bit more into that bottom leg. Use your hand if you need to get it a bit higher. Push yourself up onto your left knee. Take your right arm up and over. Leaning maybe slightly backward, maybe a little bit forward if you're trying to keep your balance here. Try to lift your bottom leg. Push it away from your wrist or away from your arm. So squeezing into your bum here. Pushing and opening that top knee up. Pushing the right knee, opening it up to the side as much as you can. Circle your right arm down to the ground. Bring yourself back down onto your hips. Rolling down onto your belly. Reaching your arms back behind you, interlace your fingers, lift your fist, lift your chest, lift your legs off the ground. Lower yourself to the floor, release the right leg so that it comes back and meets the left foot. Curl your toes in underneath, slide your hands back underneath your elbows, squeeze your elbows in, squeeze your thighs, squeeze your belly, try to create that space underneath your belly button. Try and push your heels back behind you, lifting up through your chest, keep reaching forward. Pull your elbows back, your shoulders back, pressing through your hands, lifting your hips off the floor, straightening the arms, gripping firmly into your mat, pulling yourself forward, try to get those knees higher off the mat. Place your knees down to the ground, push your bum nice and high, roll back, lowering your bum back towards your heels, bring your forehead down to the ground. On your next breath in, roll up forward onto your all fours. Drop your belly to the ground. Start to push your bum back towards your heels and then start to float your knees off the ground, lifting your hips up into a downwards facing dog. In your downwards facing dog, you can bend your knees quite generously. Start to work the heels down to the ground, your belly back towards your thighs. Try to bend your elbows and grip into the mat. Squeezing into your thigh muscles, just tilt your tailbone up slightly higher. See if you can press down firmly into your big toes. Slowly start to lower your elbows to the floor for 5, 4, squeeze them in, 3, 2, 1 down. Press back up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend a little bit deeper into your knees, sink your belly back towards your thigh, lift high onto the balls of your feet, so lift your heels away from the mat, pull your belly in, roll forward, round it back, get your shoulders over your wrist, drop your belly, push your bum back behind you. So it's sort of a plank, but your bum is reaching high and your belly low. Lift your belly in and up, round your back, lift your hips as high as you can, roll back into your down dog, press your heels to the floor. Push your belly back to your thighs. Squeeze your elbows as they're being pulled or magnetized together. Bend your elbows, and you can just lower your elbows as much as feels comfortable. Maybe you can get them all the way down to the ground. Start to bend for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lifting back up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your knees down to the ground. Lift your heels to your bum, lower your hips, straighten your legs out as you open your chest, roll over onto your right side. Draw your left knee to your left armpit. Bring the ball of the foot as high as you can. Maybe use your hand to bring it up a little bit. You're going to take a little rack forward. So whether the foot is on the inside or on the front, it's okay. You're going to lean forward. Wrap your left arm around that front leg as much as you can, and the hand at the back, the thumb points down to the ground, and the palm faces up to the sky or away from you. The back of the hand will be on your leg, sitting up nice and tall, opening your chest up. You can release that bind. You're going to press firmly into that bottom knife edge of your foot, especially this pinky toe over here. So the foot that's straight on the ground. Okay, Quite tough to get up here, so if you need to drop this top foot, remember you can. Push through your hands, push into that bottom foot, lift your hips off the ground. Take that top arm up and over. Turn your top pinky finger down to the ground. Lean your chest back, push your bum back. Squeeze your top knee away from you and keep a little bend in the bottom leg. Lower your left hand to the ground. Lift your hips up into your downwards facing dog. Draw your left knee into your chest. Ripple and roll forward through your plank. Look in between your hands. Step your left foot onto the inside of your left hand. Reach your left arm up to the sky. With your right eye, look up to your top middle finger. Try to squeeze into the front big toe. Try to drag your feet in towards one another. Squeezing your left knee into your chest. Start to lift your big toe, your front big toe, peeling that whole front part, that whole front strip of your front foot away from the ground. And then maybe coming a little bit onto the knife outside edge of the left foot. Circling your left arm down to the ground right next to your right hand. So both hands onto the inside of the foot. Pushing yourself back, starting to straighten out this front leg as much as you can. Then spin the back heel down onto the floor. So now you'll almost look towards the side of your mat. Reach your arms out, walk them forward as much as you can. Bend a little bit into that front knee. Bend your back knee and sink your bum back behind you. Walking your hands back forward, bring your left hand onto the outside of your left foot, spin onto the back ball of the foot. Bend your back knee. Draw your belly in, round your back, chin to chest, slowly roll yourself up. Sink that back knee a little bit lower. Reach both arms up to the sky, straightening out your back leg. Spin your back heel down, opening up into a warrior two. Straightening out the front leg, you can hop or heel toe the back foot in and up. Thumbs pointing up to the sky, reach forward as you push your hips back behind you. Bring your left hand onto the inside of your left knee or calf. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Take that top hand, wrap it around your lower back, reaching towards your left thigh. Gaze forward at your front big toe. You're going to aim to get your fingertips towards the left front corner of your mat. You can take a couple of hops, maybe one, lifting your right leg up to the sky, coming into your half moon pose. Once you're there, bending into the top knee, squeeze your heel into your bum. Maybe opening the knee up, lifting that knee, there you'd be the highest point of your body right now. Maybe starting to float your bottom fingers away from the floor. Close your ribs, squeeze into your lower belly. Straightening out that bottom leg as if you're pushing through syrup, really resisting that push. Bending deep into your front knee, as slow as you can, slow motion, slower than what I went there. Step your back foot nice and far back onto your mat. Release the back hand, reaching your arms into the opposite direction, back into your warrior two. Flip your front palm, reach it up to the sky. Reach back and reverse your warrior. Slide your back fingers down your back calf. Cartwheel both hands down to the floor. Spin onto the back ball of your foot. Push through the ground, step back into your high plank. Bend your elbows, hovering down halfway. Push back up. Bend your elbows, hovering halfway. If you need to do this on your knees, drop the knees. Push back up. Lower your hips, keep your toes fold under. Open your chest, squeeze the thighs, lift your legs a little bit higher off the mat. Chin to chest, bend your knees, push your bum to your heels, lift your hips up, back into your downwards facing dog. Lower your knees down to the ground. Roll forward, round back, pull your heels to your bum, lower your hips to the floor. Open your chest, it's like a slingshot. Your chest will open up. Pull your heels a little bit closer to your bum, then release, then pressing into the back, pinky toes, roll yourself over onto your left hip. Draw your right knee to your right arm, but get that foot up nice and high. Bending a little bit into the bottom leg. You're going to push through that knife edge of the foot, lift your hips up to the sky. Right arm reaches up, maybe all the way overhead. Bend as much as you need to into that bottom leg, or you can keep supporting with your top foot on the ground. Lean back almost as if you're going in for a wild thing. Place your right hand to the floor. Push back into your downwards facing dog. Bring that foot onto your calf, onto the inside of the thigh if you're not there yet. Roll forward into your plank. Draw your right knee up into your chest. Look in between your hands. Step your foot onto the inside of your right hand. Take your right arm up to the sky. Let your left eye look up to your top middle finger. Maybe lean slightly backwards, drawing your belly button back, sinking further down into your front knee. Few slow, easy breaths as you start to squeeze your inner thighs together. Start to lift your right big toe off the floor. Let that whole front strip of your foot start to lift. Coming onto the outside edge of your right foot. Squeeze your right hip back. Pull your left hip forward. Bring your right hand down to the ground, next to the left. Start to straighten out your front leg as much as you can. Keep lifting the front strip of the foot away from the floor. Spin your back heel down onto the ground. Facing sideways on your mat. Straightening out the front leg, walk your hands forward, bending your back knees, sinking your hips back, as if you're trying to push your left hip back towards the back left heel. Try to hug that right thigh bone back into the hip, squeezing through both glutes, through your butt. Lengthening your chest forward. Straightening out through your back leg, spin onto the back ball of your foot. Bend your back knee, hovering just off the mat, chin to chest, pull your ribs and your belly in. Slowly start to roll up as you push through your feet. Reaching your arms up to the sky, sink low with that back knee. Straightening out your back leg. Spin your back heel down, opening your hips and your arms up into warrior two. You can check that your front heel and back inner arch, middle line of the inner arch is in line with one another. Straightening out your front leg. You can hop or heel toe your back foot forward. Make sure your hips and your shoulders are facing straight in front of you, palms up, thumbs up. Push your hips back, reach forward, and tick-tock yourself down, bringing your right hand onto the inside of your right knee or calf. So we're looking for the chest to be open. If you can find that your chest stays open, you can maybe slide that hand a little bit lower or grab your big toe. But if you find that your chest collapses forward, then maybe come up a little bit higher. Pressing with the back of the right hand into your calf. Wrap your top arm around your lower back. Maybe just leave your hand on your lower back. Or maybe you can come up, stretch that back hand forward so you can hold on to the thigh. You don't need to. If you can just grab it, just go ahead and grab it there. Opening up the top shoulder. Little baby bend in both knees. Gaze to your front big toe. Reach your right fingertips to the front right corner of your mat. Bending the front knee nice generously. Maybe a couple of hops. Maybe one float and that back leg comes up to the sky. Squeezing your left bum, pull the heel in towards your butt. Opening the left hip up, stacking the left hip on top of the right hip. So if you hit the volcano like I did, you're going to find a few shakes here. Maybe to challenge yourself, float your right fingertips off the ground. Spread the top toes, pushing the ball of the foot away from you. Straightening out your back leg. Bending more into the front leg, gaze somewhere in front of you. Just at one spot, slowly step back into your warrior two. Flip your front palm, lift it up and overhead, slide your back fingers down your back calf, opening up through your chest. Let your ribs flare as if you're leaning back, and then pull them in, bend more into your front knee, going more for a side body stretch. Bring that top shoulder and roll it forward. Cartwheel your hands down to the ground. Step back into your high plank. Roll forward onto your toes, bend your elbows halfway. Squeeze your thigh muscles, squeeze your belly, push up. Bend your elbows halfway. Push back up. Bend your elbows halfway. Untuck the toes, breathe in, lift your chest up. Roll yourself all the way down onto your bellies. Resting onto a cheek, just let your heart rate come down. Interlace your hands behind you. Squeeze the palms together. Keep the elbows bent. Tuck the toes in. Push your heels back. Let the legs and the hips come off the ground. Draw your belly in. You feel this will lift your chest slightly and create more space in the front body. Breathe in, lift your chest up. Straighten your arms, lift up just a little bit higher. Keep pushing down into your feet. Lift your feet away from the ground. Squeeze your heels in towards your bum. Lifting up just a little bit higher. Lower your legs down, curl your toes under. Keep your chest up, bring your hands underneath your elbows. Press through your hands, lift your chest. Get your hips and your legs off the ground. Bend your knees, don't let the knees touch the ground. Push your bum back towards your heels. Lift your hips back up into your down dog. Bring your knees down to the floor. Sit back into your child's pose. Stretching your hands away from you. Really find length, decompressing the vertebrae in the spine. Gazing forward in between your hands. You're going to roll yourself to come up and sit. Sit back onto your heels. Rest your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. Feeling into the ripples. Feeling around for whatever that experience is, whatever the expression is that's coming through your body right now. Pushing your bum back to your heels. You're going to start to push your bum back behind you. You'll see your back starts to arch and your chest starts to tilt up to the sky. Reaching your arms back, cactusing them, bending by the elbows. Squeeze into your lower belly, start to push yourself up onto your knees. Reach your arms as far back behind you. At the last moment, bend your elbows, fingertips pointing down, elbows hug inwards. As much as you're pushing down with your palms into your lower back, into the sacrum, the same amount you push back with your lower back into your hands, zipping up and squeezing into your lower belly. Really squeeze your elbows in towards one another. Lifting up through the thighs, the front of the thighs, the legs start to become active and strong. So to lift up through your chest. Keep pushing your bum down to the ground, lifting up through your belly button. Start to lean backwards, bend backwards, as if you're bending over a big ball. You can stay here or you can release your hands onto your heels. Keep rolling your elbows inwards, your shoulders back, as if your shoulder blades are giving each other a hug at the back. Lifting up through your lower belly. If you want to, you can now start to drop your head a little bit further back behind you. Keeping the bum engaged. And when you're ready, slowly leaning over towards a side. Bring yourself back up, reaching your arms forward, coming into child's pose. Squeeze everything out of your lower backs. Sliding your hands back behind you, grab your heels. Make sure that your knees are coming in towards one another and your ankle bones. Take your chin to your chest and your forehead onto your knees so that you come onto the crown of your head. You're going to roll and lift your hips up to the sky. That means you'll roll onto the back of your head and keep pulling into your heels. Lowering your bum down, keep rippling and rolling back up, sitting in Japanese style. Rest your hands onto your lap, close your eyes. Reaching your hands out in front of you, a little bit further than your shoulders again. Start to lean your shoulders forward over your wrist, push your bum back, slowly lower your chin and your chest to the floor. Pull your belly in, push your bum forward. As you push the bum forward, the chest will start to lift up, chin to chest. Lower your hips, lower your chest up, lift your chest up. Push back onto your knees. Sink your bum back towards your heels, bring your forehead down to the ground. I'm going to try that one more time. This roll can be a little bit sticky. So roll forward onto your knees. Shoulders over the wrist, bend your elbows, stick your bum out, come down onto your chin and your chest. Pull your belly in, squeeze your bum forward, chin to chest, push through your arms, lower your hips, lift your chest up, rolling up like a worm. Push your knees down into the ground and slide your bum back onto your heels. Bring your forehead to the floor. Roll forward onto your knees, curl your toes in underneath, push your bum back towards your heels, straighten your legs back up into your down dog. Lift your right leg back behind you, bend your knees, squeeze your right heel to your right bum, open your hip up to the side. You can stay here, we're gonna go and step the top foot for a wild thing behind the bottom leg. Take your right arm up and over. See if you can float the bottom toes away from the floor for an extra challenge and keep pulling the heel in towards your bum. Bring your right hand down to the ground. Draw your right knee into your chest. See if you can kiss your right knee. Step your right foot in between your hands. Take your right arm up to the sky. Easy twist. Lift your front part of your right foot off the mat. Circle your right arm forward next to your left hand. Straighten out your front leg. Bend your back knee. Sink your bum back to the back of your mat. Bending back forward into your right knee, spin onto the back ball of your foot, bend your back knee, chin to chest, roll up into your high crescent lunge as you straighten your back leg, reach your arms up to the sky. This time tilt your chest forward, come onto your back tippy toe, float the back leg off the ground, pull the heel in towards your bum, draw the knee into your chest, bring your hands to heart center, push the ball of the left foot into the inside of the right thigh, push the heel down. Again, if you struggle a bit, use your hand around your ankle to bring the foot up, or put it onto your calf. Trying to press the left knee away from you, keeping a little bend in that standing leg. Start to tilt your chest forward. Release this left foot as if you're pushing through syrup. Extend it back behind you. Coming into warrior 3 position, turn your back pinky toe down to the ground. Reach back, bend your front knee, step as far back as you can. Reach your arms up to the sky, spin your back heel down, opening your arms into your warrior 2. Flip your front palm, lift it up and over. Maybe this time wrap your back hand around your back leg, grabbing your right thigh. Cartwheel your hands down to the floor. Step back into your high plank. Roll forward onto your toes, bend your elbows halfway. Push back up. Do these on your knees if you need to, bend your elbows halfway. Push back up. One more time, bend them halfway. Drop your hips, lift your chest, still floating the hips and the legs off the ground. Bend your knees, don't let them touch the ground. Push your bum up to the sky, let your belly drop. Push your bum all the way back to your heels. Push your chest back to your thighs. Straighten your legs, your hips back up into down dog. Lift your left leg high. Bend your heel to your bum. Spin your left hip open as you come onto the knife outside edge of your right foot. Open up. Drop that top leg behind the bottom leg. Take your top arm all the way up and overhead. See if you can float the back toes away from the floor. Start to lift your left knee up to your left armpit. Place your left hand down to the ground. Draw your left knee into your chest, step it onto the inside of your left hand. Take your left arm up to the sky, easy twist. Lift your front part of your foot away from the mat. Lean slightly backwards. Bring your left hand onto the inside of your left foot. Straightening out your front leg, bending into that back knee. Maybe lifting the front part of your foot up more so that you're on that front heel. Walk your hands forward, bend your back knee hovering just off the mat, chin to chest, roll up. Reach your arms up to the sky. Straighten out your back leg, open your arms, drop the back heel, warrior 2. Circle that back arm forward to come back forward into your high crescent lunge. This time tilt your chest forward. Come into the back tippy toe, lift your back leg up. If you need to help with balance, you can always keep the back toe on the ground. Pull the back heel, your right heel to your right bum. Draw the knee into your chest. Squeeze your knee up as high as you can. Bring the right ball of your foot above that left knee. Push down and then push your left heel. Come up, hands to heart center. Opening your right knee up to the side, little bend in the left knee. Feel the warmth of your hands on your chest. Maybe if you can feel your heartbeat. Start to tilt forward. Draw the right knee in. Release the foot as if you're pushing through syrup. Kick back behind you. Bending into the front knee, step back as slow and as far as you can. Spin the back heel down. Open your arms, warrior 2. Flip the front palm, reach it up and over, wrap your back hand around your lower back, keep it there or hold onto your front thigh. Bending into your front knee, lift the back inner arch of your foot and open the left knee up to the side, little baby bend in the back knee. Cartwheel your hands to the floor, step back into your high plank. Last 2 push-ups, bend your elbows halfway, push back up. Bend them halfway, really squeeze them into your side rib cage, squeeze your lower belly in, push back up. Lower down halfway. Drop your hips, straighten your arms, lift your chest. Keep your knees and your hips off the ground. Bend your knees, don't let them drop on the ground. Push with your hands back, push your bum up to the sky. Drop your heels back into your downwards facing dog. We're going to walk, step or float forward, so whichever is in your practice, to come sit to the front of your mat onto your bums. Reaching your legs out in front of you. Wiggle, wiggle from side to side. Sometimes it helps me just to find the right position where I want to be. Bend your knees quite generously. It's a bit hard to see when I'm wearing black pants, but make sure that there is quite a bit of a bend in your knees and that you're really digging down with your heels into the mat. Flex your feet back and start to drag your heels back towards you. Sitting up nice and tall, come onto the tips of your fingers. Pull your belly back and push your chest forward. Just staying here for a moment or two. Allow your elbows to soften towards your side rib cage. Keep pulling the heels back. Make sure these thigh muscles are starting to pull back as if the leg bones are hugging back into the hip sockets. Pull your belly in, lift your chest forward, fold a few centimeters. Pull your belly in, lift your heart up, fold forward. Maybe walk your hands with you this time, reaching the fingertips as far forward. Pull your belly in, lift your chest up, reach forward. And you can do this a couple of times, or if you're ready to soften and be more passive, you can release and let go here, or you can just stay here. So do something that you haven't done in this pose before. So if you always go for passive, maybe try to push the heels down a bit, or crunch the toes, or squeeze the thighs, just exploring a little bit in this posture. If you're always going for a rounded back, maybe try and lift up through the chest and keep the back flat. Pull those toes back towards you, maybe even spread them wide. Holding it for your last 4 breaths. Slowly rolling ourselves back up, bending into your knees, bringing the soles of your feet onto the mat. Reach your arms out in front of you. Hug your knees in, chin to chest, pull your belly in, lift up through your lower belly, and let's go down slow motion again. Push down through your big toes. Keep reaching your arms away from you, even as if you're gripping into the air with your hands. Keep reach forward, pull your rib cage down. Keep rolling, push your ribs down into your bodies. Shoulders away from the ears. Make sure that your lower back is really pressing down into the mat. And finally, let your shoulders and your head drop. Let your hands drop wherever they feel comfortable, and sliding your legs out, letting them drop out to the side, whatever feels right to you. Maybe get your top and put it back on, or switch the light off, whatever feels comfortable to you. You can close your eyes. Maybe feeling into the subtle vibrations of connectivity. Feeling the afterglow of your practice. Letting your body shake from the inside outwards. Just let your body melt like a puddle, feeling your body stretching, expanding. All parts of your body meeting your mat. If you want to, you can start to bring awareness back to your bodies, to your breath. It's your choice. If you decide to come up, make your way onto your bums. Feeling just as comfortable and as cozy in your bums that you felt on lying on your back. So just changing, it's just that shift of perception, just feeling just as comfortable here. You can draw your hands to your heart center, humbly lowering your chins to your chest, thanking yourself for showing up for new experiences, for teaching your body different ways to be. Just thanking the practice for showing up for you today. And I thank you guys so much for joining me for practice. And I hope that you guys have an awesome evening. Take it easy on those backs. Stretch them out nicely. If you guys do have any questions or you're experiencing anything that you would want to share or chat to me with, then maybe stick around. My body's also shaking. I'm shaking and trying to talk. I hope everyone's doing fine. If you do feel a little bit of discomfort in your back, there was a lot of back bending and chest opening. I would always encourage a lot of squeezing into the belly to keep it, to keep the body really active, and maybe not to go into your deepest expression always. Bye Marius, ons moet opcatch. Ek sê dit die hele tyd, maar ek sal jou 'n bietjie môre 'n lei gee. Sjap, lekker aand.